Welcome to the Planet B podcast, where truth, transformation, and faith converge. Join us as we flip the script on ecological despair, guided by Dr. Sailesh Rao's vision for a compassionate, rewilded vegan world. Let's begin the journey to the greatest transformation in human history.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of the Planet B podcast, Codes for a Healthy Earth. Dr. Rao, this is going to be a good one.
We are divinely blessed with the Codes for a Healthy Earth. It's the work of Dr. Shelley Ostroff and Jan Golding. They initially presented the codes to all of us, and we all signed on to it. And then, it was slightly modified over time, but it was basically the original contribution from them. It's a code for how do you create self-organized systems and ensure the health of the planet.
That's beautiful. So let's begin with the opening quote of chapter 27.
That's Iroquois wisdom. In every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions on the next 7 generations. That's the foresight of the Iroquois wisdom, which is to always think about generations to come in the future, as much as we can deduce what the impact would be. We have to take that into account before we make a decision.
How would our systems change when our focus is back to the Indigenous nations' way of looking ahead 7 generations? How would everything on this planet look differently from a systems perspective?
Oh, very different, because we are now doing a lot of local optimization. Local in time, it's just what can I get in the next quarter? How much can I grab right away? And that's what gets rewarded in the system. Okay, the system is designed around local optimization. And in fact, it's based on the idea that if someone looking out for themselves automatically looks out for the society that they are in. So this is what the father of capitalism said way back in the 16th century.
So that people, when they look out for themselves, they look out for others. But maybe that's not working so well in this current generation.
Yeah. This is Adam Smith in his book, The Wealth of Nations. He said that. But he was basically talking about enlightened self-interest. And now if it is enlightened self-interest, what he's saying is true. Okay.
Right.
Because enlightened self-interest is looking out for others first. That's what enlightenment is about. Right?
Yep.
But people drop the enlightened out of it when they interpret it. Okay.
Yeah.
In modern capitalism, they just assume it is just self-interest will lead to the well-being of all.
So, Dr. Rao, when you talk about the codes for a healthy Earth, you mentioned earlier about a self-organizing system. So what is a self-organizing system?
The self-organizing system is an emergent system that gets its property from the individuals behaving according to known axioms. Right? Each individual participant is behaving according to, in a way, that's what Adam Smith was trying to do too. He was talking about enlightened self-interest. And then he used the example of the baker and the butcher and so on, but in reality, everyone who is participating in an economy through enlightened self-interest will actually be doing things for the well-being of others and not expecting anything for it for themselves. Right. That to me is true enlightened self-interest. But that's not how it is interpreted. It's, by the time Adam Smith's work was quoted in Paul Samuelson's economics textbook, the enlightened got dropped, a bunch of words got dropped.
Whoops, enlightened got dropped. I don't know how I feel about that.
Dropped.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I pointed that out in my first book, Carbon Dharma. I said, this is what Adam Smith said, and you look at what Paul Samuelson wrote in this economics textbook. Key words got dropped so that it looks different. The interpretation is different.
It seems like there's some similarities with the UN IPCC there. It's just
Yes. It's a systemic issue, that kind
right.
of reinterpretation. It's a very systemic issue in the system. And by dropping that, they said, okay, we are just following the same thing that Adam Smith said. But in reality, you're doing the exact opposite.
What is exactly the codes for a healthy Earth?
So the codes for a healthy Earth is a set of principles that we all agree to, and that once we abide by, automatically creates health and well-being for the planet and all its inhabitants for generations to come. So it's fundamentally a set of principles by which we can live that allows us to lead our normal lives and the planet thrives.
Beautiful.
Right? Because right now we just lead our normal lives and the planet dies.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's the exact opposite of the way we are living today. It's a self-organizing system that the codes are trying to realize and creating a resilient way of living that enables the planet to thrive. So it's based on the vitality code of nature, which is that every living being gives as much as they can, takes exactly what they need, and becomes who they are. And when we do that, when you give as much as you can and take only what you need, you give more than you take.
Right.
Because you have a tremendous capacity to give,
Mm.
to serve the whole. And then all life thrives because of your giving. Now, every other life form lives according to that. This is why you leave them alone and nature flourishes. And we have created a system by which we live, an economic system where we take more than we give. In fact, the object of the game in the economic system is to take as much as you can before it's too late, before somebody else takes it all away, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
based on this scarcity model. You grab as much as you can as quickly as you can. And when we do that, then we are routinely taking more than we're giving, and therefore causing the planet to go out of bounds.
Right.
Now, by doing that and having enough of us do that, we have created a life force that has the strength and the power to regulate the climate and become the thermostat species
Right.
that can now take care of the life support systems of the planet and maintain it and prevent it from ever going back to another glaciation again. Okay.
Yeah.
But to accomplish that, we have to now use that same power that we have to heal the planet and to maintain it. And the codes allow us to do that.
Wonderful. So let's go a little bit into the declaration within the code. So what are some of the main points of the declaration within the codes for a healthy Earth?
Well, first of all, it declares that we are united in love and concern for our planetary home and all its inhabitants. So therefore, we are pledging, declaring that we are going to come together as one humanity for this common purpose across all boundaries to restore the well-being of all life on Earth. Okay? So that's the first part of the declaration. And then there are these axioms, interdependence and so on that we acknowledge. And then it is about transforming our social systems to effectively serve the healing, integrity, and well-being of all life. So that is the Planet B transformation that we are talking about, right? And then restore the health and diversity of the biosphere. That's the rewilding part. And then ensure that all humans and animals can meet their core needs through guaranteed access to living soil, healthy water, vitalizing food, fresh, clean air, physical and emotional safety, comfortable shelter, the cultural and ecological conditions and resources needed for all to realize their unique potential in mutual enrichment with their communities and ecosystems.
Mm,
Okay,
beautiful.
so this is a pledge we are doing. This is what we are going to be organizing around.
Mm,
Okay, and that's what Planet B is also trying to do. So how would you organize systems? How would you create systems that meet those pledges that we said we are going to do? How would we
yeah.
do living soil? How would we do healthy water and vitalizing food? So it's all about, what is our purpose on this planet and what are we organizing for?
Right.
It's not about extraction anymore. It's about restoration and cleanup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it also talks about the education system. It's about cultivating a shared whole system understanding of our collective challenges, existing solutions, and optimum healing pathways forward. So systems thinking, systems training should be in schools.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should be thinking, along these lines. Everyone should be familiarized with how systems behave. Okay, that's how we coordinate our actions and we become so powerful as a species. And if you don't understand how systems work, we can be misled down the wrong path.
It's true. Just on that point of the systems, I just remember as a young kid, something that a lot of the schools would do is the light bulb activity, where you'd have to wire, 5 or 6
Mm,
switches, and then you turns it to the right light bulb. And I mean that stayed with me my entire life. And I think that's something
mm.
I did in like second or third grade with my grandpa. But it just
Ah,
shows that when you do that systems activity, it
right,
does really stay with you, and it highlights the importance of a system and how it functions really simply as well. So it is
right,
so
right,
it is
right.
so important.
Yeah. Collective activities like that, getting kids involved in that right at the outset and understanding our strength as a
Mm,
species. We are extremely powerful as a species, but with power comes responsibilities to show compassion to those who don't have that power.
right.
Yes, you can squash them, but is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Right? Knowing our strength, we have to be much more restrained in using that strength.
Yeah. That's so true.
To be fair, humanity kind of got to understand our strength only about 30 years ago,
Yeah.
to a large extent, right? So now we have to figure out how to teach children that we have this awesome responsibility that we have to meet.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
And the fifth is to co-create a globally coordinated transition to a shared culture of peace, kindness, harmony and diversity, wisdom, integrity, accountability, collaboration, regeneration, and reverence for all of life.
Mm.
So that's the fifth declaration that we are signing on to, and we sign on to the codes.
So now
Yeah.
let's go through the guiding principles, which I think are
Mm,
just so beautiful as a way. If we were to move in this direction as humanity, we would Planet B would be there tomorrow. So if you don't mind,
right.
let's share these one by one, the guiding principles of the codes for a healthy Earth. And the first is nonviolence and stewardship.
Right. Aspire to do no harm and to align our thoughts, words, and actions with that which is nourishing for the entire community of life. Second, protect, honor, and restore the foundations of life: earth, water, fire, air, climate, biodiversity, and the web of life. So it's really about the rewilding part,
Hmm.
about restoring the planet. Third, protect and honor indigenous peoples and their lands and integrate their counsel, wisdom, and knowledge systems in all sectors of human affairs. Because there are local knowledge, their local knowledge is invaluable
Yeah.
for all of us, to thrive. Because they know more about what's going on in their ecosystem than we would ever learn from a textbook.
And they're also they're waiting and willing and wanting to help. They're just
Right.
waiting to be asked.
They're all waiting for us to wake up and realize that they have a treasure
Right.
there of knowledge,
Yeah.
that we can tap into. And last, ensure all decisions are based on the analysis of consequences to the health of the whole for the next 7 generations, and that human and non-human stakeholders are represented and taken into account. So I think we need to have animal guardians, who are representing different sets of species and whose responsibility is to look out for their well-being.
Mm.
Mm.
If you want to go right into the next one, which is harmony in diversity.
Yeah, harmony in diversity. Honor and heed the voices of marginalized groups in co-creating the way forward. Ensure the full protection and equality of girls and women in all social sectors. Develop our understanding about the essential and vitalizing nature of human and ecological diversity. Cultivate cultures of inclusivity that celebrate our life-enriching differences. And then acknowledge the deep layers of individual, cultural, and environmental trauma that we have undergone, and work to implement holistic healing and rehabilitation strategies that prioritize the most vulnerable communities, species, and ecosystems. So first address, those who have been harmed the most and heal them and help them come back. So this is how would you allocate resources is what this comes down to.
Mm.
So in that sense, if I look at the species level, it's all the species that are on the brink of extinction that we need to try and bring back.
Right.
Right. And then among human beings is those who have been oppressed the most that we have to bring back first. That would be the indigenous communities who have been colonized and whose lands have been taken away from them, who have been displaced. They are the ones who need help first.
Yeah. So it's almost like it would be reversed, where they would lead us back onto those lands, educate us how to properly use those lands. Could you share more about that a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go and ask them, knowing what you know, how would we
Right.
restore this area?
Right.
Right? What used to be here? Tell us your stories. So we have to start a deep listening process with the indigenous communities around the world. I mean, our society has the technology to help, right? But the technology has to be deployed in alignment with what they're saying should happen in that
Right.
area.
Yeah. That makes so much sense too. So now, Dr. Rao, if you don't mind, we'll move into economy and law. It's a big topic
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Economy and law, the codes say, give legitimacy to those laws that protect and regenerate life, and delegitimize all laws that permit harm to life. And invest only in that which protects and regenerates life, and disinvest from any and all enterprises that harm or could harm life. Ensure all corporations and enterprises harming life will be supported to either transform or dissolve. And create the optimal conditions for the core needs of all humans and animals to be met as we transition to healthier economies and enterprises. So it's calling for a conscious transformation of business practices, of systems, economic systems, to be only those that heal life and to shut down anything that harms life. Okay, so which means the old model is about commodifying life. The old model puts a value on life. And it's just, it's all money, dollars, right? It's all turned into dollars. And it's completely illegitimate according to this.
Right.
So it's reversing that. And I literally don't see, I pretty much, once you sign on to this, you'll have to dissolve the existing system and only foster those Planet B systems that are already there.
Right. Right.
And,
Dr. Rao,
yeah.
how would you see law enforcement and um, the court system? How would you see that evolved to be on Planet B?
Well, Planet A, it has been all about enforcing rights. Okay. So the governance is to enforce rights. Okay. And we basically give each other rights. We don't give rights to animals. We give rights to some animals. Pets
Right.
get some rights, but the farm animals get no rights. And then we are slowly saying, okay, we'll give rights to nature in some countries and things like that. It's all about rights that we are giving to other life. So it comes from a position of domination over
Mm.
life. Okay? When you start giving out rights, the rights have to be fundamentally given to everyone.
Because we all
Meaning,
have it already.
we
Like
all
we've been
have it
given,
already.
right?
You don't have to give it to anybody.
Right.
So the court system and the governance structures that we have in Planet B will be all about fulfilling responsibilities.
Mm.
So it's not about asserting rights, it's about fulfilling responsibilities. So if some responsibilities have not been met, how do you ensure that that responsibility is met? Because it's going to impact the well-being of all.
Right. Like, do you see
Right.
kind of governance on Planet B being more so like ensuring with love that rewilding projects get fulfilled and everyone is treating each other with respect and dignity, like not so much, I don't know, questioning kind of who's in charge of what, or there's just no shady schemes really.
Right. In the Codes for a Healthy Earth, it says the only legitimate purpose of governance is to protect and cultivate the health and vitality of the planet and all its inhabitants for generations to come.
Mm.
That's the only legitimate purpose of governance. Every other purpose of governance is illegitimate.
I think that says it all.
Right? Simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to
Mm.
govern around that principle.
Yeah, that's the foundation of governance. It makes so
Right.
much sense.
Now, beyond that, we have to codify all that. And I'm sure there are lots of academic experts, our experts who can help us codify that so that we accomplish that purpose. And we have to then have feedback loops that ensure that you are able to change things, tweak things, if it is not meeting the objectives.
Right.
Right. So it's only when we run open loop that we get into big trouble. We don't even check what's happening to the planet. We assume it's an infinite sink for waste, an infinite source for resources. Yeah. And we don't close the loop. And that's how we
Right.
get into trouble.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. So now, Dr. Rao, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, let's go into the education, learning, and media section.
Yeah. So it informs people everywhere about the global and local challenges, their systemic causes, which is really what we are doing here, and
Hmm.
the wealth of existing solutions, initiatives, and networks from all sectors dedicated to personal, collective, and planetary healing and transformation. They're already working on it. People are already working on a lot of these things. And we just are networking them together and making it systematic. So that's the purpose of Planet B, is to make it systematic.
Right.
Then identify, develop, and scale holistic healing and regenerative learning opportunities for people of all ages, learning styles, interests, and abilities to support the flourishing of the individual, the community, and the whole. This is about helping every one of us sing our songs,
Hmm.
dance our dance, because um, someone had said, and I forget who said it, I should actually find out who it is, who said, the greatest tragedy of human beings is that the number of people who die with their song still in them. And so the purpose of education is to help you find that song, help you
Right.
express that song, cultivate the wisdom, art, and science of systems thinking and whole system health and healing, which is what we are doing here, trying
Yeah.
to disseminate this kind of thinking process.
Right.
And
Yeah.
finally, evolve our language, communication skills, creative expression, and cultural narratives to cultivate an informed, empathic, compassionate, and vibrant human society.
It's beautiful. So would you like to go into, so the final part of this section is transitioning to new social systems.
Right. Ensure that people in positions of leadership are skilled in applying the principles of whole system health and healing, and fully embody the values of integrity, courage, compassion, wisdom, commitment, service, expertise, and dedication to the good of the whole. So elevate those who are generous, elevate those who are compassionate. It's not about, how much can you grab, and because, as I said, the system fundamentally on planet A rewards those who are selfish and greedy.
Yeah.
So you need to reward those, or you need to give more power to those who are selfless and generous and compassionate.
Absolutely.
Initiate evolving online platforms to learn, gather, refine, and disseminate the best existing innovative laws, policies, and practices for whole system health and healing in all sectors, and to design pathways for their swift worldwide adoption and implementation according to local needs and conditions. Again, it is not one size fits all, right? So it has to be a subsidiary approach, meaning assume that the local people know better than the person sitting in a central place.
Yeah.
So decisions are made as much as possible, as locally as possible. It's only when decisions cannot be made at that level because it impacts a lot of localities that it comes to a higher hierarchy.
Which is kind of the bottom up approach, which you mentioned a lot of. Yeah.
Correct. Align technology and scientific advancement to serve whole system health and healing. Again, AI is a very productivity enhancement tool. But what is it deployed for?
Right.
If it's deployed for restoring the planet, I think it's an amazing tool to use, because it can gather resources, knowledge from all over, and put it together and create something coherent. It'll give you a good sense of where you need to go when you do that. But if it is used to create fake worlds and things like that, it can be highly destructive.
Mm.
And then cultivate self-organizing, community-led wisdom and expertise circles to advise on the wisest policies and most effective solutions, while giving voice to the needs, resources, and interdependencies of all human and non-human stakeholders. Okay. So basically, we have to have wisdom councils that would make collective decisions together. And it should include those who would speak on behalf of those who are not represented in human circles, that is, other species.
Mm.
And finally, design and implement a seamless transition to new forms of local and global governance dedicated to cultivating the most efficient and vitalizing flow of energy through the entire planetary ecosystem. So, and that's where, we have to create these systems and structures that would allow us to create a planet B.
All right. And then you end it with in big letters, towards a thriving world for all.
Right. We people of Earth affirm that a worldwide adoption of the principles outlined in these codes has the capacity to solve multiple crises simultaneously and create a culture of peace with all of life. So it's a very simple encapsulation of the principles that we need to live by.
It's beautiful.
It doesn't give you all the details of how you would organize around that. And that's where engineers like me come in,
Yeah, and those will probably be discussed in the next book, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on that because it's a guide to Planet B.
Yeah, wonderful. You end the codes of a healthy earth with, together we rise for all life.
Right. Together we are going to rise for all of life, and basically to support life and defend life from being killed off, because that's what's going on now. in the current system. So I'm appealing to people to please consider endorsing and sharing the Codes for a Healthy Earth as a universal and evolving social contract to be voluntarily adopted by all peoples of the earth. We have to do it voluntarily. It cannot be forced on anyone. I mean, if you think there is something that needs to be changed in this, bring it up. Let's discuss it.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you have a kind of a call to action? Like, should we try to share these codes with people or organizations or institutions?
Yeah, I would like this to be, it's already been signed by over 300 organizations and in 30 countries. And, but I wish it was 3 million organizations.
Yeah.
No. So it needs to be spread, and people need to come to a consensus around it, because I think it's a good way for us to build upon.
Yeah.
And so the website is codes.earth. It's very simple. And if you go there, you can read it in its entirety and endorse it and get on board with it.
So Dr. Rao, as we round out episode 27, Codes for a Healthy Earth, what message would you like to share with our audience today?
It is an exciting time to be alive, that we are actually being called to create something new. I'm grateful to be alive at this time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rao. Thank you to our audience for joining us today. Our next episode is another extremely fascinating one. Chapter 28 is the civilizational transformation. So I hope you join us once again. Thank you for being with us today. Planet B signing out. Bye.
This has been a podcast from Planet B, where ethics caught up with choices. If you haven't moved here yet, we thank you for visiting.
The house is burning, but we're still sitting in the glow. Phones charged, lights on, pretending we don't know. But the forest is silent, the river's running low, and the flame on our plates is the strongest fire we throw. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is your hour. 7 boundaries broken, the earth pushed past the line. Climate, land, species, fresh water, chemicals, nutrients, oceans in decline. Not danger, disaster in real time. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafoodians rise, this is your power. And here in India, one truth stands the same. Milk is not just milk, dairy feeds the flame. Cows and methane, fields and forests turn to grain. Politics, culture, carbon, all wired to the same chain. Every cup of curd is heat in the air, every block of butter is a forest repair. It's not a small habit, it's a planetary affair. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Echoes and rise, this is our hour. Energy fixes half the hurt, Dr. Rao made that clear. But food fixes the other half, the half that's burning here. Change the plate, change the land, change the future's atmosphere. Put out the fire, put out the fire. Metafoodians unite, this is your choir. Every millet, every fruit, every sapseed, every bean is water on the wildfire. A week of choices can cool a generation. A company's courage can ignite a nation. Put out the fire. Ooh, put out the fire. Echoes and rise. This is your hour. Metafoodians unite. Metafoodians ignite. Sharing love in the meta zone. Lighting the path to a cooler home. Put out the fire. Ooh, put out the fire. Together we rise. Together we